Hi, this is Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute, from 7everyminute.com, the podcast and website by, for, and about baby boomers. Thanks for joining me tonight to talk about why we even talk about setting goals, especially for older. So let's get started. If you like what you hear tonight, please leave a like and tell your friends, drop me a comment. And so just want you to be involved also because this is a show really that's driven by you and the things that you're interested in hearing. So tonight, like I said, is going to be a little bit different. And we're going to take a quick break from developing our goal setting and envisionment plan, which we've been talking about the last couple of issues, episodes. And instead, this was prompted by Monday. I was reading the paper, the Wall Street Journal, which I often mention. And there was a story in there that really made me step back and think about many things, right? Obviously, if you paid any attention at all to what I talk about, you know, the Russian invasion of Ukraine is a big topic on my mind, but that's just sort of a sample as to what really matters to me, because in these times in particular, there's really no reason why anyone in the entire planet should be going to bed hungry or forced to live in a dictatorial regime, not have access to reasonably priced medical care, food, essential items to live a comfortable life. I'm not talking about socialism. There's plenty enough money to go around. And instead, what we see is this widening of the wealth gap, where fewer people control more of the wealth and more people exist in just simply deplorable conditions. And I'm not just talking about, oh, there's more 1% people in the US or something like that. This is a worldwide phenomenon where more and more people are living in really bad conditions, but the overall wealth and standard of living in the entire world has risen, but has risen unevenly. And so the story I saw, by the way, I'll come back to that in a second. I guess even more disturbing is the widening division between peoples who, you know, by every right, they should be working together for a common cause. But instead, they're at each other's throats over often fairly small differences in opinion, right? It's grossly obvious here in the US, where the, kind of, I'll call it bipartisan fascism, for lack of a better term, seems to be the current vogue. But it really has become prevalent throughout the world. If you look at the world news of Europe, look at the world news in Asia, basically anywhere, what you'll see are this bipolar kind of binary division between peoples, and there's very little cooperation going on. And so, what does all that have to do with setting your own goals for the next 90 days? Well, actually, it has everything to do with it. Because simply, you can shake your head and say, wow, the world's gone crazy, or you can work to change it, even if just one teeny little bit. Because the best place to start making a change happen in the world is within yourself. But I guess it's very difficult sometimes to envision how making a little change in yourself can really change the whole world. And that's kind of what we're trying to talk about and teach you how to do, and see how when you can make a change in your own life, that empowers you then to teach others how to do it and really make a change in the whole world. But what about that story I was talking about? It was entitled Homelessness Worsens in Older Populations, Wall Street Journal. Let me see if you can see the headline. There it is. It's a fairly short little article. And it was again in Monday, December 12th, Wall Street Journal, first section, page A3. And if you get it, if not, I'll see if I can post a link to it. If I can, I'll put it in the comments for the video and or in the description. I'll edit the description. So the country was talking about, I guess, was the first thing that disturbed me. Homelessness, older populations, and where they're talking about. What they're talking about was the USA. And some of the people in the story were quite elderly, and that's certainly sad, but kind of understandable. I mean, the one gent is 88 or something like that, 89. And it's kind of like, okay, 89, maybe lived longer than he's expected his retirement to hold or something like that. One of the other people who was highlighted was 62 years old, a retired social worker. Her husband died of COVID in 2020, and she, for better or worse, lives in Boise, Idaho, which has become a real hotspot place to live. And according to Zillow, I believe it was, yes, it was, in the past 3 years, rents in Boise have gone up roughly 46% from $1,213 a month to $1,778 a month for your average apartment. Right? You can't sustain that sort of cost of living increase without being prepared, even if it's just being prepared to have to make some significant changes in your life, perhaps by moving. But I'm reading that story and thinking that could be a lot of people I know, and actually probably is some of the people I know, that they lived a simple life and had some savings and they got some social security and the world around them just exploded. And now here they are facing, well, in this case, 62. This particular person probably has most likely another at least 15, 20 years of life with no idea how they're going to support themselves. So that's why I'm so devoted to people of all ages, but especially older people, because a lot of all of us, I mean, certainly right there, we're told by society that, we can no longer contribute and just kind of step aside and that. We've talked about this before. I differ with that. I say you still very much have a choice in your destiny and in creating your own future. And I know I have a lot of younger listeners, and certainly I'll say that is doubly so for you. If you're in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, even in your 50s, you still have a lot of time where you can make choices, and little choices when you're younger can be really influential as you get older. Because even when you're older, still making choices can influence you for the next 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years of your life. That's a long time. You can make a big difference in the world. And actually, I work with somebody, very nice person, and now after the big Powerball, she started playing the lottery like twice or three times a week or whatever. And I've seen other people talk about this. Simply, playing the lottery is neither a plan nor a strategy, and neither is hoping that something will happen. Right? There's no one in the world who should be more interested in your own welfare than you. And once you get yourself in a trajectory you're satisfied with, your future's kind of maybe going a little better than you expected it would before you got a little more proactive on yourself. Hopefully you will then decide to help others improve their own lives as well. There's too much potential good in this world and in every single one of us to not let that wonderfulness be discovered and put to good use. I see many older workers who clearly are working because they have no choice. I don't want anyone in my community or the world in general, quite frankly, to be in that situation. Instead of reading about that unfortunate person in the story in the Wall Street Journal, I'd much rather read something like retired single moms start school for young single moms to learn how to get a high school diploma while raising a family alone, or any of thousands of others proactive changes we could all do ourselves to make and to improve the world, not only for ourselves, but for everyone. We all have that potential within us. Directing your own future, setting your own goals, and visioning these goals so our brain naturally makes decisions aligned with our goals. That's the reason for envisioning a new and better future for yourself and for those you care for. We've talked about some very practical things like SMART goals. If you don't know what they are, look 2 episodes ago. SMART goals, and they're important, along with really sifting through all our thoughts and things, our ideas, and to find the ones that are real gems of personally important goals, and being bold in making our goals that will really move us to a better place in our lives. Not making little teeny goals, but thinking of great big goals of real stretch goals. Those are all important things. And we've covered that so far, and we'll talk more about it next week. But I really thought it was important to remind everyone, ourselves, of the why behind that action. It isn't just something to do or it's a way to pass the time. It's a very definite and positive action to take control of our own lives and, to the best of our ability, make our lives and the lives of those around us the best they can be. And again, I know I have a lot of younger listeners, and if you're in the mindset that kind of like, well, I think my own life's pretty good, think about all the things you can teach your kids or other people in your family. Just, this applies across all the ages. right now, because of the demographic I'm in and the people that I'm noticing, those are the people I really want to help and focus on and help them remember that they still have something they can do to improve their own lives. But if you're in your middle ages, your early middle ages, you're in your 20s, now is the time to start making changes. Envision your goals, really envision them, select them carefully, work towards them. You can make a humongous, almost limitless change in your own life and the lives of those you love. So again, we'll be talking a lot more about this. Remember, I mentioned the course is coming, See Your Future Transformed. I hope to have that out in January. Covers the whole process in a lot more detail. Plus, we go through it at a first level in this whole series of webinars that we're doing now in the Facebook Lives. So I hope you keep watching that. But that's it for the evening. I wanted to cover that, or I thought you might. It helps sometimes to remember why we do things. It's great to have a process, but if you're kind of in the middle, say, oh, why am I spending all this time doing it? It's because you want to make your own life and everybody's life a lot better, and you have the ability to do it. So again, remember the war in Ukraine, put it up again, ukr7.com. That's a list of links, including the link to the World Central Kitchen. They are still very active in Ukraine, putting out meals. Again, here in the Northeast, last night it got down to, I think it was 12 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's around minus 11 or so Celsius. Again, it's cold in Ukraine as well. They're in an active war zone. The entire country is being targeted. So again, please take a look at some of those links, or look WCK.com, World Central Kitchen, or I'm sorry, WCK.org. Let me just, since I said it wrong, put it on the screen and clear it up. WCK.org, World Central Kitchen. Again, very active in the Ukraine of getting meals out. And as we said before, best way to care for yourself is to care for others. And I would suggest, if you can, you're able, please, now is the time. Really make some donations at the end of the year, help these people get through the winter, and then hopefully through that, eventually get the war to end and get the world back on a little more stable footing. So again, one of the best ways to care for yourself, care for others. Please think if you can donate at all to any to help these people, and if not these people, to help anyone you see in need. So thank you for stopping by. If you found something interesting or useful, please pass it along, and please hit that like button. If not, please drop me a comment as to what you'd like to hear. Have a great week, and remember to live the life that you dreamed of, because that's the path to true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone, and see you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thank you so much.